Hey guys, and welcome back to my first video on this channel, which is not a stream from a stream. Today I'm gonna play you how I play AP Cho'Gath in the mid lane like I do in the streams. So first I'll just quickly cover the build, which in the early game you can choose between the two Dorans, Ring and Shield. I mostly prefer the Doran's Ring. The shield is just mostly good against people you won't be able to kill in the early game. So for the core build, it's gonna be the Everfrost and the Demonic Embrace, which are the only AP items you get. If you're not getting a Dark Seal and Magi's, that can be good if you want to. And after these two, you just go for the regular tank. And what I mostly recommend are Force of Nature, Gargoyles, Frozen Heart is very good. So these are the three best items, obviously depending on the matchup. Otherwise, you can go for Randuins. You shouldn't go Frozen Heart and Randuins because they have the same passive, and that cancels out. Then you can go Deadman's, which is okay. Yes, these are... Maybe you can go for Anathemas. For boots, you mainly go the defensive boots of your choice. You can go Sork Shoes if you're smurfing, but I wouldn't recommend it. So for runes, I am taking the Hail of Blades rune against most matchups. Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collection, Ultimate Hunter, Presence of Mind, and Tenacity is the most thing I go. If the enemies don't have any CC at all, you can go for Mana Flow and Scorch, which is something I also really like. And against certain matchups, you can go for a Grasp Rune page, which I'm gonna show here as well. So, when I'm talking against matchups, and why you go which is the main reason why Cho'Gath mid lane is even that good. Because you don't have many losing matchups in the mid lane. The worst matchups in the mid lane is when you get a top laner, which is something that doesn't happen so often. So for the most bad matchups for me are Heimerdinger and Nico and Akshan. These three are some matchups that really suck when you play against them. And otherwise, now I'm gonna talk about the Grasp Rune page. You take it when you can't kill your enemy or you can't burst him down. Because I'm just gonna get a dummy. I know where it is. Yes. So if you are able to burst someone down with this, you go Hail of Blades. If you can't, you go for Grasp. And you don't have to one combo them all the time. But people like mainly from mid laners, you have mostly just Anivia. You can't kill them that easily, and your damage is very front loaded, which can be a very bad thing when against certain matchups. And then you go for Grasp, because then your damage isn't that front loaded anymore. So then going into the combos, there isn't really that much to talk about. Cho'Gath is a very simple champ. The most important thing is just landing your Q. And if you land your Q, you can just immediately follow it up with an Everfrost, and of course then your other abilities. But the easiest part to kill someone is just Everfrost, Q, and then E. The W you don't really need to combo with. If you're short a little amount of damage, you can obviously use it. But your W you mostly use to just shut down enemy abilities. Like if you know Ari Charm is down and you are able to count the cooldown, you can just use your W at the moment it's coming back. Or something like Inivia Q, Zoe Bubble. Or you need to use your W to deny people from just dashing away. Because after the nerfs of Everfrost, if you press Everfrost and then Q, there is a very short period of time where people can dash away. If they don't have a dash, and not even every dash is able to, they won't be able to escape this. And then you can just use your E, and sometimes even this is able to kill, like Everfrost Q E ult. So, for the part of laning, the laning phase is pretty strong on Cho'Gath, even though you think he's a scaling champ, which he definitely is capable of. But in the laning phase, you mostly be fishing for Qs, and after fishing for a Q, you can Q, and then you can use your E. Against the matchup where you take Grasp, you can just use your Q, Grasp, and run away. Obviously, if you're taking Hail of Blades, you for the most time should proc everything. If Cho'Gath also has very good sustain because of his passive. So if you're low, you should consider backing, because if your opponent can't kill you right away, you can also just like kill minions. As you can see, I'm just gonna... Okay, I'm not taking that much damage, but I'm just gonna take some damage. And now, when there is a wave again... Okay, now I got some damage. As you can see, I'm getting a lot of health from these minions. Obviously, in the early game, you won't get that much health, but you won't need that much health either. And if you're losing some fights, what is something I do wrong many times, if you're ignited, you're obviously gonna just tick down. And even though, if you know you're gonna die, and I know it's sometimes hard to calculate, what I many times do wrong is I just flash away and run, and then, oh, man, now I'm dead. What you can do about this, and you obviously have to consider the time you're doing it, you can just kill some minions and heal yourself with it, because if you're dying to ignite, it's most times very close. And if you die anyways, it's very beneficial to just eat a minion, because while you're dead, the cooldown obviously just resets. And then if you eat the minion, you get your stack, and you're not losing on cooldown. And because of the health you gain from just eating something, you may even survive. So these are the two things I many times do wrong. The last thing to consider when playing AP Cho'Gath is when to use your ult for stacks and when to use your ult for kills. So obviously kills have more value than just stacks, especially if you can get a stack off of the kill. But if you can get like 2 stacks and and you still can get a kill without it, it's still good, because in the late game you mostly need your ult for team fights. In your late game you only use your ult for Baron and Drakes, obviously. And if like you ace the enemy team, you split push top lane and you know you're gonna recall like anytime soon. So for Heralds and Drakes, many people consider Cho'Gath ult a better smite, which isn't wrong, don't get me wrong, but if you have to consider that smite is not stoppable by something like CC. So you can always use smite on the Drake, but you can't always use Cho'Gath ult on a Drake. And also, smite is something, if you press it, it's instant. For Cho'Gath ult, you have to wait for the duration, which is something many people forget. So, these are the main parts of playing AP Cho'Gath mid lane, or more like Bruiser Cho'Gath mid lane. I hope you're not picking it in my games, because I want to play Cho'Gath. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, and bye.